Good morning to all. My name is Himanshu Srivastav. Today we'll read the story The Making of a Scientist by Robert Peterson. This video includes line-wise explanation and summary. The link for the notes of this chapter is in the description box. So, let's start the story. Richard Ebright has received the Sadler Scholar Award and the Scaring Pluff Award for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. The story is about Richard H. Ebright, who grew up in the town of Reading in Pennsylvania, USA. As he did not have much to do there, collecting things was his hobby. He used to collect butterflies as a child in kindergarten. Let's read how this curious child who collected butterflies went on to become one of the greatest scientists of the world. At the age of 22, a former scout of year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. It was the first time this important scientific journal had been published the work of college students. In sports, that would be like making the big league at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. For Richard Ebright, it was the first in a long string of achievement in science and other fields, and it all started with butterflies. An only child, Ebright grew up north of Reading, Pennsylvania. There was not much I could do there, he said. I certainly could not play football or baseball with a team of one. But there are one thing I could do, collect things. So he did. And did he ever? Beginning in kindergarten, Ebright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked as his activities. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. These are some meanings: former, scout, proceedings, journal. Making the big leagues means in a field of tough competition and high rewards, the largest or foremost of its kind. Richard H. Ebright, along with his roommate, surprised the world at the young age of 22 when they explained the theory on how cells work in a paper published in the Proceedings of National Academy of Science. This valuable magazine has published the work of college student for the first times. Means earlier it was not publishing. For Richard Ebright, it was one of the many achievements that he achieved later in his life. He says that all this curiosity started with butterflies. Ebright grew up in Pennsylvania and was the only child of his parents. He could have not done much there as there were very less people living there. He says that he could only do one thing alone, and that was collecting things as he had no friends to play football or baseball with. He had begun collecting butterflies, rocks, fossils, and coins from the time when he was in kindergarten. He also used to keep on staring at the stars and sometimes the whole night as he was interested in studying astronomy. For the first time, he had driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. She took him on trip, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mounting materials, and other equipment, and helped him in many other ways. I was his only companion until he started school, his mother said. After that, I would bring home friends for him, but at night we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in third grade. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he did not have things to do, I found work for him. Not physical work, but learning things. His mother said he liked it. He wanted to learn, and learned he did. He earned top grades in school, on everyday things. He was just like every other kid, his mother said. By the time he was in second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, Ebright said. But then my mother got me a children's book called The Travel of Monarch 10. That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. Here, monarch butterflies, a large migratory orange and black colored butterfly that occurs mainly in North America. Ebright had always been curious to learn new things and had a sharp mind. His mother used to encourage him to learn. He used to take him on learning trips, used to buy him telescopes and other instruments that would help him in learning new things. His mother was his only friend until he went to school. After he started going to school, his mother would get his friends home. He and his mother used to stay together at night and they used to do and learn things together. Ebright, who was nicknamed Richie by his mother, was her whole life and support system after his father died when he was in third grade. They used to spend most of the evenings together. If he did not have anything to do, his mother would find him some task for learning. He used to like the learning work that his mother used to give him, as that was what he wanted to do, learning about more and more new things. He was a bright student as he used to score good in class and also was regular in his daily tasks. By the time he was in second class, he had collected all the 25 species of butterflies that were found in his neighborhood. He thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection if his mother would have not got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch 10. The book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was a turning point for Ebright as it turned his curiosity towards science. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of the University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season around Reading last 6 weeks in last summer. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs, and raise them in his basement through their life cycle, from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterfly's wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. Eventually, I began to lose interest in tagging butterflies. It's tedious and there is not much feedback. Ebright said, in all the time I did it. He laughed. Only two butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. Means he's telling that at the end of children's book that his mother had got him, the readers of book were invited to help the study of butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of the University of Toronto in Canada. Richie's mother wrote to the doctor, and soon he was attaching adhesive tags to the wings of the butterflies. The person who would find a butterfly with a tag was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season lasted for around 6 weeks. Then Ebright understood that if he kept on collecting butterflies one by one, he would not be able to collect many. So the next step he took was that he decided to raise a flock of butterflies in his basement. He used to catch a female butterfly, collect its eggs, and raise them in his basement through their proper life cycles. And then he used to tag the wings of the butterflies and would let them go. There were thousands of monarchs in his basement, growing in different life stages for many years. Soon he started losing interest in tagging butterflies as it was a very slow and tiring process. It also did not get him much response. He said that out of the many butterflies that he tagged, only two could be recaptured by people, and those two were not more than 75 miles away from where he lived. Means his interest in tagging butterflies was losing. Then in the 7th grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a county science fair and lost. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something. Abright said his entry was slides of frog tissues, which he showed under a microscope. He raised the winners. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, not simply make a neat display. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard Everett was appearing. I knew that for the next year's fair I would have to do real experiment. He said, the subject I knew most about was the insect work and I had been doing in the past several years. So he docked so he wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas and back came a stack of suggestions for experiments. Those kept Abright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in county and international science fairs. For his 8th grade project, Abright tried to find the cause of viral disease that kills nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Abright thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. He tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. I did not get any real results, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I had tried the experiment. This time I won. The next year's science fair project was testing the theory that Viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. The theory was that Viceroys look like monarch because monarch doesn't don't taste good to birds. Viceroys, on the other hand, do taste good to birds. So the more they look like monarch, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. Abright's project was to see whether, in fact, birds would eat monarchs. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it could get. Abright said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarchs. This project was placed first in the zoology division and third overall in the county science fair. Now here stack means a pile of objects. Starling means a gregarious old world songbird with a straight bill. It is a kind of bird. When he was in 7th class, he came to know what real science was as he lost at a county science fair. It was a really sad feeling for him to see all other people win something while he did not win anything. He showed frog tissues slides under microscope but realized that all the winners had actually tried to perform an experiment and not just make a neat display out of their projects. He had already started developing the competitive spirit inside him. Now he had decided that he would be making a real project for the next year's fair. He thought and realized that he had maximum knowledge about the subject of insects as he had been studying them for quite some time now. He wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas and he sent back a lot of ideas for his next year's project. He remained busy with those ideas all throughout his high school and won many prizes. In his 8th class, he tried to find the cause of a viral disease that killed nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Ebright thought that disease was being transmitted through beetles, so he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. It was of no use, but when he saw that he had tried such an experiment, he won something for his project. For the next year, he tried the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. He put forward the theory that viceroy butterflies look like monarchs because monarchs do not taste good to the birds and birds like to eat viceroys. So the more the viceroy looked like monarch, the less likely it is the viceroys would be eaten by a bird. He wanted to show in his project that a bird would eat monarchs or not. He found out that a sterling bird would prefer eating a monarch. Later research showed that viceroys copied the monarchs. This project won him the first division in the geology department and third overall position in the county science fair. In his second year in high school, Richard Albright began the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory on the life of cells. The question he tried to answer was simple: what is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, Albright said. But Dr. Urquhart did not believe it. To find the answer, Albright and another excellent science student first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. This project won Albright first place in the county fair and entered into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There he won third place for geology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. As a high school junior, Richard Albright continued his advanced experiment on the monarch pupa. That year, his project won first place at the International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. In his senior year, he went two steps further. He grew cells from a monarch's wings in a culture and showed that cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. That project won first place for geology at the international fair. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army laboratory and at the laboratory of the US Department of Agriculture. The following summer, after his freshman year at Howard University, Albright went back to the laboratory of the Department of Agriculture and did more work on the hormone from the gold spots using the laboratory's sophisticated instruments. He was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure. A year and a half later, during his junior year, Albright got the idea for his new theory about cell life. It came while he was looking at X ray photos of the chemical structure of a hormone. When he saw those photos, Albright did not shout, Eureka! Or even I have got it. But he believed that, along with his finding about insect hormones, the photos gave him the answer to one of biology's puzzles: how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. DNA is the substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is the blueprint for life. These are some word meanings, and this is the explanation of the previous paragraph. This is also how he found that DNA is the blueprint of life. Albright and his college roommate James R. Wrong worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory, surprising no one who knew him. Richard Albright graduated from Howard with highest honors, second in the class of 1510, means 1510 students. Albright went on to become a graduate student researcher at Howard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the process of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. All of this is possible because of Albright's scientific curiosity. His high school research into the purpose of the spots on a monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about cell life. Richard Albright has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies, but not so deeply that he has not time for other interests. Albright also became a champion debater and public speaker and a good canoeist, and all around outdoors person. He is also an expert photographer, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. In high school, Richard Albright was a student. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and United Nations clubs. He also found someone to admire, Richard Wearer, his social studies teacher and advisor to both clubs. Mr. Wearer was the perfect person for me then. He opened my mind to new ideas, Albright said. Richard would always give that extra effort. Mr. Wearer said, what pleased me was here was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night doing debate research besides doing all his research with butterflies and other interest. Richard was competitive, Mr. Wearer continued. But not in bad sense, he explained. Richard was not interested in winning for winning's sake or winning to get a prize. Rather, he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. For the right reasons, he wants to be the best. And that is one of the ingredients in the making of a scientist. Start with a first rate mind and curiosity, add curiosity, and mix in the will to win for the right reasons. Albright has these qualities. From the time the book The Travels of Monarch 10 opened the world of science to him, Richard Albright has never lost his scientific curiosity. This is the explanation of the paragraph. This is also the explanation how his teacher was impressed because of because of his extra effort that he used to give for the debate research apart from the time he used to spend with the butterfly research and other interests. This is the summary of the story. This will summarize the whole story. I hope this will help you. This is also the part of the summary, and I hope the whole explanation will help you out to understand the story. So, thank you.